Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Sarah from Who I Am Among the Pages, and today we're doing my July 2020 TBR. If you're new here, I hope you decide to stick around after watching the video by clicking that subscribe button down below. And if you're not new, then thank you so much for coming back. I've missed you so much. So for this month, I've decided to kind of go back. I do have a few relatively new books, one that's really pretty new. Go back through books that I've had for a while and read them and try to finish series, that sort of thing, because I've always been super bad about it. So, and also, as you all, if you've watched me before, you know I am a pitifully slow reader. I love to read, but I take so much time to absorb everything in the book because I'm so afraid of forgetting something that it really slows me down and I have to get over it. I'm an English major, and right now, when I am in classes, my course load is largely reading books. And having this way of reading that's not quick at all does slow me down. And also, I'm going to school to be an English teacher, and professionally, it's going to affect me. So this month, I am working on reading faster. I want to check and make sure that I'm still comprehending as much as I should be, but I really do want to quicken the pace. So this video doesn't drag on forever. Let me get into the first book. I usually read about 3 a month comfortably, usually starting a 4th by the last couple of days of the month, but I'm really going to push myself. I'm working on one now, Postmortem by Patricia Cornwell, and I'm about 75% of the way through, so I'm hoping to finish it today. Beyond that, I have 5 books I'm going to try to read this month, and I really thought out length and everything, so I think this is doable if I really push myself. So, the first book is one that I haven't hauled yet, so when I do a midsummer book haul, this will be in it even though you've already seen it. It is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. I've really been into true crime recently, and this book takes place at Ellingham Academy, which was founded by a very rich man years and years ago to serve the best and the brightest students. Right after the school was founded, his wife and his daughter were kidnapped, and the only thing left behind was a note with a poem, I believe, with a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. So obviously that's what this comes from. Years and years later, we have our main character, Stevie Bell, who is a true crime aficionado, begin to attend the school, and she is determined to solve this case. But then she, of course, is getting wrapped up in the typical day-to-day school life. So we're following a young woman trying to solve a cold case, all the while, I'm assuming, having a lot of the typical school experiences. This is a boarding school, and it's supposedly a school for geniuses, so I'm really looking forward to it, because, even though I'm in college, I do still really like school stories. I want to be a teacher, so obviously I must like it. I'm really looking forward to seeing this because, of course, I've read Harry Potter. I love the magical school trope, but I don't think I've ever read a school for geniuses story. So this is really interesting, along with being a mystery, and this is the first book in a murder mystery trilogy. So I've also never read a trilogy of murder mysteries. I've read my fair share of Patricia Cornwell and Kathy Reichs, Tess Gerritsen, those authors, Agatha Christie, but I've never read something quite like this, especially a mystery made for YA. That's something I haven't gone into yet, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how the language and the themes of a type of story that I know really well, how that carries over into YA and what they choose to leave in adult fiction, because at least Patricia Cornwell, who I dearly love her original books, she's very graphic, very, very horribly true crime-esque graphic. So I wonder how much of that you can put into a YA book and still have it be a YA. I'm very curious because, frankly, as a writer, I'd like to know, even beyond the book itself. So the next book I'm hoping to read this month is the 3rd book in a series that I have been working on since last fall sometime. I read the first book October, I believe, of 2019. I picked up the 2nd book, I believe, in April. But the this book is Blue Lily, Lily Blue. I was afraid I was going to stumble over that, by Maggie Stiefvater. It is the third book in the Raven Cycle series, and it has a very short description. Basically, it tells this book apparently is going to be about Blue having kind of found her place in the group of boys, but of course nothing can ever just exist because otherwise we wouldn't have a good story. So the description ends with this. The trick with found things, though, is how easily they can be lost. Friends can betray, mothers can disappear, visions can mislead, and certainties can unravel. So I don't know that I really like the way there's really no description on this book. It does make me less excited to read it, but I do want to go ahead and finish the Raven Cycle series, because although it's not my favorite, I do like, especially Gansey. I really, really like him. And I want to see what happens. Like, I'm halfway through now. I do want to go ahead and finish it. Because, hello, I bought the books. Like, because you did know it's not a good idea to buy a whole series unless you know for sure that you're going to like them. And I am so guilty of it. So, after that, I am hoping to get to Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. It was the beginning of this past month, June, that I read Fangirl, and it's right there under my mask for my senior prom, and I was obsessed with it. I loved Fangirl, and my only regret is that I didn't read it sooner. I am just mind blown. I think about this book every day, every time I sit down to write, especially when I'm working on what happens after my Harry Potter fanfic. I can't get her out of my head. I just love it, and it's killing me to go ahead and read Carry On, because from what I understand, at least, it sounds like this is the story that Kath and Fangirl was writing, and I think it's super cool, and a really cool piece of like fan memorabilia to be able to read the book that your favorite character was writing. And of course this follows the magical school trope, and you're following Simon Snow, who, Kath was a huge fan of. Well, so was Ren, but we care more about Kath. I'm sorry. So basically he's the chosen one, and he sees himself as like a failure chosen one. He's not very good at what he's supposed to be doing. His roommate Baz sucks and hates him and is pretty much his enemy. And we're seeing him go through his last year at the Watford School of Magics, and this is supposed to be like the last book in the series that Kath talks about in the book. I have heard mixed things about this, so I am kind of nervous. I really want to love Simon and Baz, but I have to say, one of my least favorite parts of Fangirl was the pieces of Carry On and the Simon and Baz book, the Simon Snow books that were in it. By the end, I really cared more once we got into what she was writing and understood the world a little bit. But maybe it's because there just wasn't enough, or there was too much, or it wasn't placed properly, whatever. So I'm really, really hoping to like this. I really want to like this, because I also have, if you can see, the yellow book under the bright green one right there. I have Wayward Son. I have Wayward Son too. So I really want to love this. I'm excited to read it, at least give it my best shot. And if nothing else, at least it's a Rainbow Rowell, because I am so in love with her writing and her world building and her characters, and just love her. So that's my third book. We're over halfway there, hopefully. And the fourth book is something I used to pick up a lot more of, but honestly recently I haven't, and it is The Gown by Jennifer Robson. It is a historical fiction, contemporary fiction mixture. We have London 1947 following these two seamstresses in post-war London, post-World War II London. The one is a native Londoner, the other is a French immigrant, I think that's how you say it, French immigrant to England anyway, who survived the Holocaust. And they are chosen to make the lace for Queen Elizabeth's wedding dress. And I love everything about the royal weddings. I just eat it up, so that already is exciting. And then it skips to Toronto 2016, and you have a woman that finds this lace and this embroidery work that matches Queen Elizabeth's dress, and she pieces together that maybe her great grandmother, or not her late grandmother, not her great grandmother, her late grandmother, was maybe the one that made this, and she never talked about her past in London. So she's piecing together her grandmother's life that she never really knew based on this embroidery, and a photo she found of her grandmother and her friend that she worked with. She goes to London, and it's a journey that of course unlocks her grandmother's life, but she also knows a lot more about herself by the end of this. And look at the foiling. I just love it. It's beautiful. I mean, the picture of Queen Elizabeth and Philip, what was his name, Mountbatten, on their wedding day, that was enough to make me pick it up. I wanted it. It's just a gorgeous photograph. Look at that train. Oh. So I'm excited for this. I do love stuff with royal families, and especially like the real royal families. I loved Princess Diana. I wish I could, if you know any books about Princess Diana other than just like a straight up biography, I would love to read them because I'm obsessed. So the last book I'm hoping to read this month, I've had for quite a while, at least 2 years at this point. And I read the first book when there was a big hype around it. Sasha Alsberg from a book Utopia went on about the first book as being one of her favorites of, I guess it would have been like 2016, I think 2016, 2017, along with A Court of Mist and Fury. Yeah. And anything she loves, I will probably love. So I picked up the first book. I did enjoy it very much. It wasn't a favorite book of mine, but it was still good. And then I picked up the second book, and for whatever reason, I just never got around to it. And now there's 2 more books out that look every bit as entertaining, and I want to get to them, but of course I want to read in order. And that is Hunting Prince Dracula by Carrie Maniscalco. I hope I said that right. That is a heck of a last name. So this follows our main character, Audrey Rose Wadsworth, from Stalking Jack the Ripper. You know, she, of course, at the end of the first book found out who Jack the Ripper was, and after this she is allowed to attend the as the only woman at the first forensic school in Europe, or in England at least, I believe, Europe's most prestigious forensic school. It is in Romania, and it is in the castle of Vlad the Impaler, also known as Dracula. I believe a lot of the myths do come from him. And so she's at the school, she's the only girl there. At the same time, things start to go down, and it's evident that maybe Prince Dracula isn't so dead. I'm really looking forward to this because I love seeing urban legends and like American horror characters involved with literature in a way that elevates it, so not Twilight. But like how Salem's Lot by Stephen King took the American vampire trope and made it truly horrifying. It wasn't just some guy with black hair and a black cape, and he turned into a bat and flew away. It was horrifying. And I know this probably, I'm not guessing, is going to be a Salem's Lot kind of story, but I am very much hoping that it takes the vampire legend, especially Vlad the Impaler, because I took AP world history when I was a sophomore in high school, and we did spend a little chunk of time talking about Vlad the Impaler and his impacts. Don't ask me, I can't remember, but I remember finding it interesting, if not fascinating. And again, the first book was really good. I remember really liking Carrie Maniscalco's writing, and I've mentioned this before, if it's been a long time since I've read a book, then I will kind of have trouble if I don't reread it, or at least read a synopsis before I read the next book in a series. That's why I kind of like when all the books in a series are already out when I pick it up, so I can just read it all the way through, but I still don't always do that, so hey. But I still remember the ending to Stalking Jack the Ripper very vividly. That's how good it was. Like, I haven't forgotten. And I feel very confident, even after all this time, going back and rereading this, and I am actually really looking forward to it. So that wraps up my TBR for the month, and other than a few announcements, I am of course still always working on my traditionally published novel. It is going very slow. and I'm running into some kinks with it that I'm not quite as happy as I thought I would be with it. Still putting in the work, still trying. At least I am going to finish this. And if it's not very good, then at least I'll put it on Wattpad for you all to enjoy. Beyond that, I have created a schedule for when I'm uploading to Wattpad. I used to have one, but I don't really know what happened. I mean, this book has been, number 9 especially, has been in the works for 2 years. So of course, right now, my upload schedule for YouTube is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that'll stay the same. But every other Saturday, starting this Saturday, July 4th, there is going to be a new chapter of my Harry Potter fanfic, What Happens After, will be posted. So like this month, you'll see a new chapter on the 4th, and then you'll see a new chapter on the 18th, and then you'll see one on August 1st. And then, like I used to be doing, I'm hoping to have a new chapter of rewritten and eventually freshly written, number 9 every Sunday. So yeah, it's kind of daunting to have such a strict schedule now, but I think I struggle to not have deadlines, and by guilting myself into making these deadlines and then promising myself that I have to follow them and then recording it to put on the internet that I'm going to follow them will help me be more accountable to those deadlines. That's why I love school. I mean, hey, I thrive off of deadlines because even if I leave it till the night before, you better bet that it will get done. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up the video. I hope you guys enjoy. If you have any thoughts or opinions on the books mentioned in this video, I would love to hear them, but please no spoilers. I will be going to Blacksburg this weekend, where the town where my school is, Virginia Tech. So I am going to be pre-recording videos for Friday and maybe Monday. Friday definitely, because I have a very specific video in mind. So I will be wearing the same thing, but I hope you guys will forgive me for that. Yeah, that's pretty much everything. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, see ya.